let us say I want to get details. Let us go back to our company DB, and let us say I want to get details of the employee who work in the same department as, not Bob, but this time we go with John. Okay, so the answer will change. What employees are in the same department as John? So John is in one, Emily and Sophia, right? So Emily and Sophia. Now, can you tell me how we can approach this question? Anyone want to take the lead? Select star from employee is very simple. I will write where department ID is equal to what? It should be equal to 1, right? Then I will get these three people who work in the same department. It should be equal to 1, right? Then I will get these three people who work in the same department. So how can I get this 1 using a subquery where I have to use John? See, you will just write within a subquery. I will just simply write select where department ID is, select department ID from department where first name is John. Yes. So where first name is John. I think Nilesh has shared it and this is correct. So I
Hi,
can
hello.
just write this here. Yes, Abhishek.
Yes, what do you tell till now? Because I am not in this. I am very coming very.
Did you okay? Did you join just now? Okay, just a second. We will select from employees only. We don't need to select it from department. And first name would be equal to John. And I have to select the department ID. Okay, Abhishek, let me just solve this question and then I will help you out with the same. Okay, just allow me a
Okay,
moment.
okay.
Sure.
Okay.
So we can run this and we can get these three employees, right? So moving on, just one thing, if you remember, if I have to compare, let us say multiple values, let us say I have John, or let us say I have 1 comma 2 comma 4. So instead of equal to, what do we use here? Instead of equal to, what do we use? In. Yes, we use in. So instead of not equal to, what do we use? Not in. Right, very simple. So based on the same, we have a question, and okay. So here I think every employee has a department ID. Let us go back to the joins database that we have created, and in the joins database, you have to solve this question where the question states list departments that have no employees assigned. Before giving you this question and time to solve this, let me show you the database. So it is select star from departments. Okay, and we have select star from employees. This is our two tables. You can see that 112. So marketing has no employee, but you have to solve this question using a subquery, and you will use the not in command. Nivedita is saying she does not have the joins database. So in the last session, I have actually shared the query to create this database. It is a very small database with 3 tables. I can pin that in the Telegram group for you so that you can go through it. Let me just do it. So I think 115. Okay. Okay. So CX115, I am just pinning the message. to create the joins database. I think it is there already. So yes, here it is. Query to create joins database. Right. I've shared, like I've pinned in the Telegram group. Okay, so I think Abhishek joined late and he was asking what we have done till now. So Abhishek, we have started with a new concept that is subquery, which is query inside a query. And here what we do is we write queries inside another query to get our value. Like, let us go back to the company DB, right? See, here I can get the average salary as 69,200 and I want to compare and get the details of the employee where salary is greater than the average salary, right? So what I
Okay.
can do, I can write this average salary query inside the brackets, right? Inside the brackets, and this would be a
Okay.
subquery. So inside this bracket,
Yeah.
I've written a query which
Okay.
is part
Hello.
of the larger query, right? So this
Hello.
whole query, yes, Abhishek.
Can you tell the multi-row subquery? What is that?
See, multi-row and single row is very simple. When I run this, I get only one value. So this is single row. When I run this, I get multiple
Okay.
values.
Okay.
So this is multi-row. Okay, so till now we have done till
Okay.
here only, and we have done two questions. So you can do this.
Mm,
Initially, we started with the revision of joins with
okay.
a single question, and yeah, that is what you have to do. Then we would be studying correlated
Okay.
subquery, which is a different concept in the coming time. So let us go back to the
Okay.
joins database, and it is a rather simple question. Anyone with the insight of how to do it, or shall I do it here? I think I should give you a little bit more time. So take 2 or 4 minutes more and let me know when you are done with this. You understood how we would be doing this, right? If you have, like, if you are facing issues in how to do this, please ask me. I will let you know कि कैसे करना है, क्या करना है. Then you can try on yourself also. So if you still are confused कि सर ये क्वेश्चन होगा कैसे, इसमें लॉजिक क्या है, do ask. I will help you out, and then you might take the lead and solve this question yourself.
Can you please explain this question once again? I've just joined.
Sure. So see here the question is that you have to list departments that have no employees assigned. So we have to select the department name and then we have to compare in the employees table which of the department has no employee. So what you have to do is you have to select the department name where department ID is not in the department ID of this table. Basically, select department name where department ID is not in, and then a subquery to fetch the department ID or the employees where department ID is not null.
Okay.
Okay, so Nilesh have shared. Let me write this and see. So it is select department name from department where department ID. Okay, select department name from departments where department ID. So where department ID not in select department ID from employee. Okay, department ID from employees. Right. Let us run this. And we are getting some, okay, employees. Right. So we are not getting the exact value. Let us see what the inner subquery is giving us. 102 null 102. Right. So we have to write select department ID from employees where department ID is not null. Okay. And this, sorry, is not null. Okay. Now you will get the value as marketing. Right. So if you directly do this, the issue is in the departments table. If you do select department name from okay from employees, right? So here there is a null value, and if this will give null value, so what will happen? This not in will not be taking anything because null. अगर यहाँ पे null आ गया, if we get null value in the subquery n1 and 2, then not in is not applicable to null values because everything is not like everything is opposite of null. So you have to make sure that your inner subquery is not giving null values if there is a null value in the table or the values that are fetching from the inner query, right? So I will copy paste these two for you for the time being to solve from the company DB database, right? And this is in the joints database for now. You can try this or skip this, it is up to you.
Please repeat the last query.
This one,
Yes.
see. Oh, okay. Let me get both of these first. It has to be joins database. See, here the question is list department that have no employees assigned to them. So can you tell me using these two tables, which department has no employee assigned to them? Marketing, right? Because at least 101 HR, then 102, 102 engineering, but there is no 103 here, right? So there is no person assigned to marketing, and that is what we need to fetch from the table, right? So this is a very small table we can manually see, but in a real world, if there are a lot of values, we have to use a query. So what I did, I said select department name from departments, right? Select department name from department because I want to get the name of the department. I get all the three, HR, engineering, marketing, तीनों आ गए उसमें, right? Then I have to get only that department whose ID is not present in the employees table, because if the department ID is not there in the employee table, that means no employee is part of that department. So what do? We say where department ID is not in the department ID from employees table. So I will select department ID from employees. This will give me null 101 and 102, but I don't want the null values. I will write where department ID is not null. So I will get 101 and 102. So where department ID not in 10 and 102, I will get 103 as the answer. So where department ID is 103, my department name would be marketing, right? So outer query to get the department name, inner query to get the department with employees, right? So I'm copy pasting this also, and this is in a joins database. So I hope you understand the distinction between joins database and company DB. Company DB we had created in the starting, and joins we created in last lecture, if you remember. Okay, so if you guys are done with these three, just let me know that this is running fine, and we can start with correlated subqueries. Okay, so I think these three are done with, like you're done with these three. So shall we start with correlated subqueries? Okay, subqueries with in is nothing, just instead of equal to clause, we will use in, or in the subqueries in from, we just write select average score from, and we can do this. Okay, so these are just subqueries with clauses, while subquery, correlated subquery is a different concept that we have to understand. Okay, so in this, I would want you to pay attention because this might seem a little bit complicated in initially. So you can skip the uh, okay, yeah, you can skip the practicing for now. I will give you the time to practice if you want, or I will stay in the session to clear your doubts. But these things you have to just pay a little bit more attention. So a correlated subquery is a subquery that references column from the outer query. It is re-executed for each row of the outer query. Okay, so let us understand what this is all about. Let us say, as of now, just forget that there is something called as correlated subquery. In the general sense, if I ask you, let us say if my question is, give me the uh, name of student with marks greater than average marks, right? So this is a simple subquery that you can do. What you will do here, you will write a subquery to calculate the average marks, right? You will find the average score. Let us say it is 79, and जिनका भी score ज़्यादा होगा, you will get their values. Whoever is scoring more than 79, you will get the name of the student. This is clear to you how we will use a simple subquery? And can you tell me if this is an example of a multi-row subquery or a single row subquery?
Multi-row.
Multi-row, yes, great. Now in this question, let us add another catch. And I say you, or I ask you, that now I want the average marks of the students, but average marks, so name of student with marks greater than average marks of his or her class. Now we have a situation here. The person is asking that I should be getting the name of the student whose mark is greater than the average marks of his or her class. Now the issue is for Alice, I have to find the average for 10A, not for the whole table. Same is the case with Bob, same is the case with Charlie. When we do for Frank, we have to find the average for 10B. Right. So now what is happening? The inner query is dependent on the outer query. Okay. In the first case, which is example of a simple multi-row subquery, there is no dependency. First, this query will run. This will give me average. Let us say 81. Then the outer query will compare the average, and if it is more than 81, I get the name. If it is less than 81, I do not get the name. Very simple. But in the second query, this average marks, what is the average? 82, 85, 97? We don't know. We cannot calculate unless we know who is the student. Because depending upon the student, if it is Bob, then we have to calculate the average of 10th A. If it is Frank, then we have to calculate the average of 10th B. If it is Hannah, we have to calculate the average of 10th C. So where the inner subquery is dependent on the outer subquery, and it will get executed every time for the outer subquery, it is a correlated subquery. Okay. Don't worry about the syntax. I will tell you what is the syntax, how we can get this A, B, C, D. Don't worry about the same. Just understand the concept and the dependency here. That because the inner query cannot calculate the average unless it knows what is the name of the student. So it knows which class average we need to calculate here. That is the example of a correlated subquery, right? So it is written here that it is re-executed for each row of the outer query, which means outer query which selects the name. So what will happen? Let us zoom out a little bit and see the query. See, select name class score from student S1 where score is greater than the average score from student S2 where S1.class is equal to S2.class. So this S1 and S2 is the same table. We have just created two different copies to compare. The first query is getting name, class and score, And in the inner query, every time we will compare the class and we will execute the average. So for every row in the outer query, for Elise, we have to calculate the average. Then for Bob, we will calculate. Then for Charlie, we will calculate. For David, we will calculate. For every row in the subquery, the inner query will run again and again. This is the idea behind the co-related subquery. Okay. So I hope it is clear to you. We will do our own example here of the correlated subquery. Co-related subquery. But before going that, I would want to ask you again, is the concept clear to you? For now, you can ignore the syntax. Concept is clear to you? Okay, can you explain one more time? Sure, let us go again with the concept. Initially when I asked you, or let us come back here and let us see this company DB employee table, and let us select this average salary. Okay, now you can see the employee table, and you know how this average salary concept works, right? You can directly select average salary from the employee. Clear? So first this will give you the average salary, and then the whole query will give you the employees with salary greater than the average salary. This is clear to you? Absolutely.
Yes.
Now I add a catch. I say, let me copy this question also. Okay, there is no question. So I say select details of employee where salary is greater than the average salary. This is what we have done till now, but I add within their departments. Now what is the issue? You have to compare the department. So when I say, is John's salary greater than the average salary of his department? What is the average salary? It is not the average salary of the combined it is the average salary of department 1. So we will find the average of department 1, which is actually very less, right? 60,000 something. So in certain cases where there is a condition and our inner query is dependent on the outer query. Okay, when I say this query, there is no dependency. I can just run this, I will get the average. But if I were to do it department wise, for every employee, I will first check what is the department. For John, it is 1. So I will calculate average for department ID 1, and then I will see if John is there in the output or not. Let us say John is there. Then for Jane, I again have to calculate the average because the department ID is 2. Then for Alex, you have to again calculate because department ID is 3. Right? For Emily, you have to again calculate because department ID is 1. So for every row, you will have to calculate the average again and again. First of all, you will check the department ID, then you will calculate the average. That is the idea behind the co-related subquery. Right? So when we go back here the situation is same. I want to get the students with marks greater than the average marks of their class. So for Elise, average marks निकालने के लिए we will have to find out first of all which class he is in. So the average marks query depends on the outer query because the name will tell us which class he is into, and then we will find the average value. This dependency is what is there in the correlated subquery, because when we talk about this single row and multi-row, there is no correlation. Even if I run this query alone, it will give me the value, maximum salary. But if the catch is there that you have to go through the department, then it will not give you the value. I will show you how it is done. This is not the syntax. This is the basic syntax of a normal query. Don't think that this is a correlated subquery. Right. So correlated subquery references column from the outer query. It is re-executed for each row of the outer query. This is the most important. What is a correlated subquery? Just remember this line here. Re-executed every time the outer query. Okay. So that is the thing about correlated subquery. You might still be slightly confused, but let us do some examples and it would be a little bit more clear to you. Okay. So I hope my voice is clear again because I am still on my mobile data and